Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we're looking at the track Dead Don't Die by the American rock band Shinedown. This song was the third single to be released from their 7th studio album Planet Zero, which really saw the band widen their scope and really branch out a little bit on some of the music they have been producing over recent years, and this album really tried to tackle a lot of different issues and it did so very, very successfully. And the band never falls short of putting a lot of heavy messaging into their music, as they have done throughout their entire illustrious career with some of the previous albums they have released, so they're going through a lot of style changes as well and really incorporating new ideas into their music. So should this track stay with the dead or rejoin the living? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds.
So try it again. Starting me over right back at the end.
When's the last time you were afraid? I haven't been afraid a day in my life.
Okay, I love we've got this switching vocal style from Brent Smith, really going for that slow, sluggish start, and really picking up the pace with the idea of I'm never running. So he switches it up, kind of touches in with the idea of running, really just fits quite well together. Also, I want to touch on these slow, sluggish guitars that we have got. You think of zombies, skeletons, things like that, the undead, they do tend to be very slow, very slow. So I like that the guitar is keeping this much slower pace to it, and I love how already we've got so many lyrics tying in with this idea of death, the flat line for the 9th time, tying it with the idea of a cat having 9 lives, being on a first name basis with the afterlife is such a sweet little lyric that we have got there. The idea that you're so accustomed to really meeting death effectively that you are just kind of on that first name basis, you kind of become friends almost. And the idea of tying it in with demons as well and digging yourself out. Well, I dug myself out of the dirt for a reason, and I love that. It's making it personal. It's the idea that you break yourself free from these kind of jaws of despair, almost something like that, and that's what this song is all about. It's all about bouncing back, being unwilling to bend and break, just really having that ability to bounce back whenever life does throw something your way, and we can already see that really showing through the lyrics. And I like the idea of when's the last time you were afraid. It's almost like that idea of that fear of death, that fear of being knocked down, and that idea of I haven't been afraid a day in my life. So really just showing that willingness to be strong and kind of push through.
The dead don't die, the heart still beats, head held high, I haunt these streets, life still me 100,000 times. You can try, but the dead don't die. Knock me down 6 feet deep, one more round, no reprieve. Life still me 100,000 times. You can try, but the dead don't die.
Okay, one thing I love with this chorus is the fact that they are not personifying life. This idea of it's very personal in the form of I, but it's just a you can try. So it's kind of looking at life trying to knock you down and you bouncing back. So you kind of telling life to try and knock you down. It doesn't have to just apply to life. It could be a person that's trying to hold you back, maybe a job, something like that. You can apply it universally to anything, which is such a smart lyric. And the idea of dead don't die. You think of death as being finite, as being final, but they're really showing through this. No, if you get knocked down, you get back up again. And it's really showing it through an interesting form as well, and it really helps to tie in all of these lyrics with that meaning as well, because there's so many lyrics you can throw in around the idea of death. I mean, I haunt these streets, this idea that if life knocks you down, you're going to haunt it, you're going to kind of really just go for it. So there's so many great lyrics being thrown in already just in the first couple of verses and the chorus.
In the mirror, no reflection. Another day, just another resurrection. Where's the glory? Just another story. I won't be the ending that was written for me. And I'm never running, so try it again. Starting me over right where it began.
It's pretty boring, isn't it? This existence. Might as well not take fear off the table.
I I love these little statements that are being thrown in at the end of each verse. It's pretty boring, is it, this existence? It's almost like it's kind of trying to switch that narrative. It's almost trying to be that devil on your shoulder, just kind of saying that it's quite boring, this existence, isn't it? Almost like really trying to hold you down. It's almost like that voice in your head. So it's quite interesting they're using the vocal switch to really kind of emphasize that idea. And again, we have got quite a lot of rhyming lyrics thrown this. Reflection, resurrection, really just trying to, story in me, just kind of also tying in a lot of different lyrics again. But I like that the rhyming lyrics that we have got, again, just continually adding to that flow despite it being a slower track. And I just like this idea of I'm not taking fear off the table. Fear is something that often can weigh us down quite heavily, so it is one of those big factors. So I like they're kind of throwing in that idea of that demon keeping fear in you to just really try and hold you down.
The dead don't die, the heart still beats, head held high, I haunt these streets, lies kill me 100,000 times, you can try, but the dead don't die, knock me down, 6 feet deep, one more round, no reprieve, lies kill me 100,000 times, you can try, but the dead don't die.
And I love how they're tying in with the idea of it being a boxing match. One more round, no reprieve. You think of life as like 12 rounds. You get knocked down, you get up, and you think of Rocky in films like that. No matter how many times you knock him down, he's going to bounce back. And it's great because a boxing match is one of the most common things you can really use to tie in this idea, because how many times you see people go down on the floor, they get back up, they keep fighting. It's just that most people know the Rocky story, so it's really easy to really bring that in to the actual track and really use it as a strong metaphor for this idea of just constantly rebounding back.
I think everyone's a little scared of what's next. Live or die. Live or die.
The dead don't die, the heart still beats, head held high, I haunt these streets, lies kill me 100,000 times, you can try, but the dead don't die.
And one thing I want to touch on with Zach's guitar solo there, it's really smart how he did it. It was almost like reenacting a heart rate monitor, and he played this really high-pitched note that's almost like mimicking this idea of flatline, and it's that idea kind of just life is coming to an end, just that line goes flat and there is no life left. So I like that even with the musical side of things, they're really trying to tie in more of these ideas, throw in these little quirks, give him a solo to really build the energy on the track as well, even though it has got that slightly more slower, sluggish style. So I really did like that, and I just like the way they really tied in that idea of flatline just by using a single note on a guitar solo.
Knock me down, 6 feet deep, one more round, no reprieve, lies kill me 100,000 times, you can try, but the dead don't die. Lies kill me 100,000 times, you can try, but the dead don't die.
What a fun track that is, as most of Shinedown's music actually is, and really great to see just the amount of power that they're really able to throw into a track that has a slightly slower and more sluggish style. But I love all of these lyrics. They all tie in with this idea of ghosts, death, dirt, everything you can picture that really revolves around that idea. And I think it was really smart using effectively what is so-called death, which is considered a finite idea, really showing that you can effectively bounce back from that, whilst in reality you probably can't. It's one of those things that they really used that to really build a lot of emphasis around this idea of returning from the dead almost, and really just coming back with a bit of vengeance and with a bit of a bite. So I like that the music really did show that this unwillingness to bend and break, this unwillingness to be kept down, which was really strong. And I like the actual instrumentation, again, just using Zach's guitar solo to really show that idea of flatlining was really, really smart. And the band really do know how to put on a lot of power into their music, really just into the drums, the thumping sound of the drums, just adding all these different different layers and levels to really build a strong energy into what can be considered a bit of a fight back track. It really is songs like this that make Shinedown the powerhouse that they are in the rock scene. The band have been going at it for quite some time now and really never drop the ball on the production quality of their music, really showing a great diversity, and this track does just that. If you've never heard Planet Zero all the way through, I would highly implore you to do so, because it was a fantastic album, really had such a great wide scope on it, and tracks like this, the energy is kept pretty much throughout the entirety of the album, which was really strong. It was easy to see why it was a very well received album when it was released in the middle of last year. So that will be everything for today's video, but as always, please feel free to let me know your thoughts about the track in the comment section below. Do you think it's some of Shinedown's finest work, or are you one of those that's a bit more of a fan of some of the earlier albums they did work on and some of the early material that they did release? Please let me know your thoughts, and if you want to see more content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next audio analysis.